Alright, yo, what's good, y'all? I'm Monet, and I always got something to say. Today, I have Brayden Smith here with me, hailing all the way from the 910 Jacksonville, North Carolina. Brayden Smith, he's an upcoming senior business administration major with a focus in financial analytics. He is currently the chancellor's intern, but previously served as an apprentice for companies such as Alley, Lowe's, Capital One, Medtronic, Adobe, and Guidewire Software. He served as an intern for Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the NCCU Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development, and Beats by Dr. Dre. He's worked for NCCU School of Business with the role as Vice President of Business Analytics and Research. Also, he's worked as a career Eagle officer. He's been a part of the NCCU flag football team, the NCCU Flames, the Latino Male Initiative. Help me pronounce this, is it Criar
Futuros?
Say it?
Criar Futuros.
Okay. He's been a model for the NCCU Watch. I just learned that today. He's a former candidate for Mr. Sophomore. He's been a part of Royal Court. He's traveled to several conferences on behalf of North Carolina Central University, and he is the current NCCU Yard Ambassador and influencer for the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Thank you for being here with us. You have a lot of titles, sir.
Man, that thing long.
You got a long resume.
I do.
So, how has, all these titles and all these conferences and all this experience, how has that shaped you as an Eagle? Where did all of that come from? I always like to say that NCCU chooses its students. It's not necessarily that the students choose NCCU. I remember at a point in time I was going to transfer because I was going through life here, and I didn't feel at home here. But then I found myself here, and I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be rooted. I found my purpose at Central. So, and I've done a lot of research, and I've done some reading, which is why I asked you that specific question. How is all that experience defined you and kind of rounded you as an Eagle?
It's interesting that you said NCCU chooses its students. The reason why I came was more like a leap of faith. I didn't know why. I had my stepsister who graduated with me in 17.
Okay.
But helping her move in and out a couple times, that was my initial exposure to the university. I remember seeing the basketball court that they had. No longer got it now, but that's cool. Just looking at it from a sports standpoint, but that all the things I've done definitely shaped my outlook on life and just being able to find myself. I feel like I am slowly finding my purpose, my passion here at Central.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see how me putting one foot in front of the other has just been the reason I've been doing these things. And not saying that it's me. I mean, it is God.
For sure.
Knowing that, faith, like you had said earlier, every day has its own struggles, but you waking up was a gift God gave you,
right? And
you don't know what tomorrow holds.
Right.
I think in those first 2 years of me here, I was definitely doing that, living that, and I think now it's more like refining that and being more at peace with being Brayden, and not on holding the pressures of the things I've done or the standard that people say that Brayden has, but also knowing that that's my standard because it's what I decided to make for myself.
That's what you set for yourself. I like this. I like the fact that you said you putting your one foot in front of the other is why you're here today. Because I've done a reflection video on YouTube, and it was me going from winning Miss C.A. Jones to me being put on the panel for the Women's History Month. Now, in the year before then, literally on exact days, or days I was in court, or days I was going through certain things with the school, or things I was going through a breakup, or I was going through depression. So to go to the next 365 days of putting your best foot forth and not feeling sorry for myself, that's what it meant for me. So I like the fact that you said that, because yes, it is putting your best foot forth, and you can see that in different ways in life, with every different type of people. You know what I mean? Now, I know when I emailed you, I told you the focus was life as an eagle and being an eagle. But after doing research on you, every interview you've done has been about what you've accomplished. Every interview you've done has been about the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. I love the fact that you're in that. I did that program myself when I was a sophomore in high school. I did it with Fayetteville State University and got three credits from that class. So Thurgood Marshall is a great program. I love that program. I love the history of Thurgood Marshall. I love the history of what he's done for African Americans, especially as far as the legal system. But I'm like, yo, he's done a lot. Now, if you go read his LinkedIn profile, you say something about you overcoming imposter syndrome. And so that right there highlighted mental health awareness for me, because that's a big thing for my podcast. And since you've done so much interviewing on everything you've accomplished, just like you said, be comfortable being Brayden and not just what I've done, I would like to ask, I'm going to give you 2 options. Would you like to do a switch and talk about the focus of imposter syndrome, what it is, how you've overcame it, what you felt like going through it? Or would you like to focus on life as an eagle and the story of how you became who you are, the intern of the chancellor, like how you became a baby eagle to the intern of the chancellor, or overcoming imposter syndrome and giving awareness to it, because not a lot of people talk about it, and especially I don't see a lot of men talking about it.
Okay, so I think I want to talk about imposter syndrome because I think it's sometimes like a daily battle. Like, it's not like I fully overcame it, but it's like imposter syndrome and burnout. I mean, I'm in my junior year, I've done things, and a lot of people like to recognize the things I've done, and I think I just continue to let that build pressure and feel like weigh the world on my shoulders. But I had to, like Mr. Dickey in Career and Professional Development Center, he was talking to me about it. Felt like I was going through it, like he's seen it. Having people like Ms. Boyd, Center of Entrepreneurship, to even having people like Ms. Powers in the Chancellor's office, like them seeing where like I might be a little quiet, more quiet than usual, maybe down a little bit, but having the opportunity to open up to them and making sure that I am, that's really helped out, because a lot of times in my head I'm like, I gotta do something bigger than what I did in the past. Like a lot of just doubts and fears, like being afraid to act because you don't want to mess up, or you don't want to live up to that standard others placed on you. So I really had to get out of being validated by other people's opinion and feeling like I gotta rescue everybody.
Yeah.
So like,
I get that.
Right now it's been about health.
Okay.
And I liked what someone had told me, that my health is my priority, because if I don't take care of myself, I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, you die.
Right.
You can't pour into your relationships. You can't overflow into anything else if you don't take care of yourself first.
Right.
So right now that's what I've been looking at, and I started going to like therapy. And I mean, it opened up things I suppressed, my past. And I'm talking it out with a therapist that's able to help me get through it. And I mean, in therapy, that it's what is it called? But like, you can't just out all your things you're going through. So like, it's a safe space.
Okay.
I understand that. And it's the other thing, like, I forbid it was outed. Like, who cares? Like, you'll still get through it.
Yeah.
Like, understanding and not being angry at God for the mistakes and the mishaps of humans, of other people.
Yeah.
Because he's an infinite God.
Right.
And he has, it's a lot of stuff we can't fathom.
Right. And also, we have a God that, like, I watched a sermon, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and she said, we have to understand that God has feelings too. Now, just as he did not want Eve to fall into the temptation of the snake. She did. It's not that he was a vengeful God all the way, but he had a feeling towards that, which is why she gave her grace instead of just executing them or exiling them. You feel what I'm saying? So we have a God that he doesn't want, he understand. We have to understand there's good and evil in this world, and the devil is still real. You believe in God, you have to believe the devil is a real thing. And so you have to believe that there's evils casted against you. Now, everything that's evil, God means for good, right? The things that's casted against you, God uses them as trials and as war. You're going through a war right now, like a spiritual warfare or something like that. The evil word is depression. You know what I'm saying? Or the evil word is I have anxiety. That's the evils casted against us. So we have to work through those things in order to be a testimony, because we're not the only ones. God feels for the things that we go through. He gets sad too, like a very sensitive subject, like let's say sexual assault awareness. People get angry with God in a lot of situations, definitely situations like that. But we have to understand, God didn't want those things to happen to us. He mourns just like us. But our job is to, unfortunately, it sounds crazy, but we have to work through our traumas in a Christ-like way in order to be living vessels and living testimonies. That's what he's asking you to do.
Yeah.
Yes, no, don't get mad at him. Not saying, because we all gonna get, like, we're gonna ask God, like, hey, now I didn't have to go through all this yesterday. That was too much. But it's like,
yeah.
But you got through all of that yesterday in order to tell somebody, I went through this today. They're probably like, well, how did you go through that? Endurance. Things like that. So it's being a testimony. Don't get mad at God. Think about, like, okay, God, you got a funny way of saying, let me tell a story. That's how I take it.
Yeah, man. I had seen a reel from Pastor Anthony Mitchell talking about, in your trials is one of God's ways of bragging about you, saying despite all that stuff you're going through, you still come to me.
We have to understand God has a sense of humor that we don't understand. It's not funny to me all the time because, like, say he's working on my patients, like this is a real deal situation. I live on the second floor. My third floor neighbor got heavy feet. Okay, every day, every night they got heavy feet, and so they stomp all day night. But that's what you have to understand. You live in an apartment complex, you're gonna go through things like that. But I'm not a person that has a lot of patience. I'm really not. God is working on my patience. I have to live throughout this lease. I have no choice but to learn patience through that. I can't go cuss him out. I have to be patient.
Kicked out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man. It's true.
So let me ask you a question. How would you define imposter syndrome?
Being capable of doing everything that you're getting you're having fear or anxiety about. Well, let me rephrase that. Imposter syndrome is letting fear, anxiety, or whatever else you want to call that, like cast a cloud over all the things that you are capable of doing. So, for example, if you know that you can do this, if you were a speaker, you have to speak at the opening of a conference, but you let the anxiety get to you. When you go up to prepare for it, you feel that you can't do it. You talk yourself out of doing it. You get to it where you're talking and, like, you blank out.
I understand that.
I had a moment where I was at a pitch competition where I had rehearsed and memorized my conclusion to our presentation, and in preliminary round, I did it good, felt good about it. We're finalists now, I'm rehearsing it, and I'm like, okay, I could chill. And now I'm talking to people trying to, like, stop thinking about it, and then I get to the stage. It's all good until I get to the conclusion. My mind just goes blank. And it's 30 seconds of me not saying anything, and then even, like, trying to, like, jumpstart. Like, just imagine you trying to start a lawnmower and it don't cut on. That's just me on the stage saying the same 3-4 words over and over. But
it's okay.
I can laugh at it now. But man, I felt so embarrassed in that moment.
But, like, that's a part of being human. But of course you're gonna feel embarrassed, but like that's literally humanizing you. like you're saying, everybody sees you for all your successes, but right now you're humanizing a misstep, or you're humanizing actually being human, not even a misstep, but like my mind just went blank. Like I'm human. I can't be Superman all the time. You can't be Superman for the team all the time. You can't be Superman apprentice all the time. You can't be Superman intern all the time. Sometimes you're just human and not Superman. So the fact that you're humanizing that, and it's like, it's okay. Like, I can laugh about it now. Like, it's okay. But at the time, you probably really didn't feel like that was okay. Did you feel like you had to perfect that?
Well, I struggle a lot with perfectionism and
Me too.
overthinking. So, I mean, I'm very hard on myself. So, I mean, if
We're
I
our
don't
worst
do
critics.
yeah. But really, like you said, you human, so you gotta understand that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta give yourself grace.
Yes.
That's one thing I said the other day. You don't understand how grace is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to you not knowing if you even be alive tomorrow.
Facts.
So, they say procrastination is the arrogance that you have tomorrow to do what you can do today.
That's a good quote.
So, still work on that too, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna give my definition of imposter syndrome, and then we can talk about arrogance and procrastination, because like that's a thing that I literally walk through every day. Like timing is a big factor of that, and timing is not my friend. I get there, I get the job done. I try to do it as flawless as possible because I struggle with perfection too. But timing is my worst enemy because I'm trying to do everything within a 24-hour span. And I'm like, okay, I got 10 minutes to get to this. And I got 7 minutes after this end to get to this. Like I'm trying to do everything at one time, trying to be Superman, but I'm just human. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, good point.
So I define imposter syndrome as living in the everyday feeling of I'm just going through the motions. The feeling that your accomplishments aren't extraordinary, but instead of checklists and just moving on to the next thing before it's too late. Like, me personally, like I'm the oldest child, right? And so I do everything first. Like I graduate high school first. I go to college first. I start playing sports first. Like I start talking first. Like simple things, but it's things that really play in the fact that I start getting income first. I'm the first person to do my taxes, things like that. It's small things that play in the factor because I have 3 little sisters. You know what I'm saying? So going to college wasn't, and even though I'm first generation too, it wasn't an accomplishment. Oh, you first gen, you going to college. That was that for them, but for me, you're going to college because you're not going to the military. You know what I'm saying? Like it was either you got to make some money and get out your mama's house. That's what it was for me. So it wasn't an accomplishment. It was a checklist. Then it was having the highest GPA as a freshman. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know I got the award until like the morning of. I'm not going to lie because I didn't even go to the rehearsal. Me doing my work, I wasn't studying and like, not saying I'm a terrible student, but I'm saying the type of person I am. Like, I do the damn thing, but I procrastinate in it. Like, I'm great at it. I could be greater if I stopped the procrastination. I won the highest GPA as a freshman, and I'm turning my work in like 30 minutes before it's done. I'm doing it the day of. I ain't studying for no quizzes unless it's a map quiz, but I'm barely studying for those. Like, I'm really doing this thing out on a limb. As I thought. Other people would think, you just doing that on a limb. You that smart that you can win highest GPA of a freshman out on a limb. But for me, it's just a checklist. Graduating college, coming up in less than 2 months, it's a checklist. I'm already talking about master's school. Like, I'm not even having my bachelor's in my hand. And I'm worried about what I have to do in master's school. Not saying thinking forward is bad, but what I'm saying, when I got my apartment, it wasn't, oh, you're not living in your mama's house at 25. It was, you're supposed to do this thing called adulting. I got my car. You're supposed to do that. Like, I feel like everything else that the world look at as accomplishments, I don't. And it's a weird thing because I have friends, we talk about this, like, and she was in honors when she came to Central and she graduated in 3 years. She feel like it's a checklist. I'm like, girl, you graduated in 3 years? I know people who graduate in 6, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, you did something that's a step forward, like an extra step, or like something extraordinary. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you graduate in 6 years, people look down on themselves. Why? You graduated college. So it's like a lot of people look at imposter syndrome can also be unconscious too. Like you just thinking his life as a checklist instead of I'm really good at what I do. That's how I define it.
What do you define happiness to you?
Happiness to me is honestly the happiest I get is when me and God have convos and I did what He asked me to do, or if I actually won in the trial. Like I'm getting happy right now just talking about it. That is what makes me the happiest. If God asked me to do something and I did it, and we go back and talk about it, He's like, "You did the thing." I'm like, "We do air fist." Well, like, "Yeah, I did it."
Well done, good and faithful servant.
Being a vessel. What about yourself?
Been trying to find it.
Okay.
And I'm not, and I feel like that sounds like I don't get happy. Of course I get happy, but knowing what that is really defined as is what I've been looking for. Finding it, and I think that's in me growing more in the Word, being with Him. Of course, that's in my mind. I want to be a vessel, but I have to. Maybe I don't have to anything at all, honestly.
You feel like, because you already feel like you got to do a lot.
Cause yeah, it's getting caught up in thinking about works, but your works, faith without works is dead. But you gotta understand what it meant when He said it is finished.
Okay.
We don't have to continue to try and get Jesus to sacrifice Himself every day. He already did it. And I'm trying to hear what that really means, because, like...
I'll tell you. The word is agape. Agape means unconditional. Agape is the type of love we get from God, right? So, and that agape is also the type of love He requires from us. So, unfortunately, even though you don't want a requirement, you do still have a requirement. This is what unconditional love to God means. It literally means being a vessel, because He asks of you to be a vessel to your sisters and brothers, to His children, to each other. Right now we're talking about God, so we're being fruitful and being vessels to each other. How you find happiness is, well, I ain't no now happiness teacher now. So I don't want nobody to think I'm trying to be Oprah. I ain't trying to be Oprah, but we sisters and brothers in Christ.
Yep.
You got to go into the Word, right? And I'll give you an example. Noticeably out loud, very loud, I'm gay, right? Okay, I have a male friend who asks me, how are you so comfortable in your religion and being a Christian and you're gay? Because a lot of people, if you're gay, you hate God because you feel like God hates you. Or you hate God because you don't really understand yourself. And because the only thing that the world and the church will say is being gay is a sin and you're going to hell. That's what you take in. But your job is to read the Word and take it in for yourself, right? So, one thing they'll say is everybody has the facts about themselves. The facts is what the world says, but the truth is what God says about you. I said, in the first 10 chapters of Genesis, Cain killed Abel. Okay? That is a sin. Cain killed Abel, then tried to hide from God. God found him. God got on him. He's like, God gets on you. He's a vengeful God. And this is early on, so he's very vengeful at this point. Then Cain says, but if you don't protect me, they're going to try to kill me. God says, anybody who tries to harm you, I'll get them back sevenfold. Okay? That right there defined mercy for me, right? Cain killed his brother. God still protected him and still loved him. Okay? Now, let's use real-world examples. Trump. Okay? We have a God that is forced to love Trump because Trump is still his child. Okay? Jesus, when he was on this earth, he had to love men like Trump. The men who put him up on the cross. He still had to love them while he was on the cross and when he got back. He was forced to love them as they was carrying him to the cross. He was forced to love him as he was bleeding with the thorns and watching them as he was dying. That's what defined happiness for me, because Jesus was still a vessel when he came back. The same people who denied him, what's his name? Start with a J. He was blind, right? Jesus gave him back his sight, right? He still denied Jesus after that, okay? Paul or Peter, I think it's Paul. He denied Jesus 3 times. Judah. What were you supposed to say?
That was Peter.
Peter. Okay. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Ironically, Jesus came back and asked him 3 times, do you love me? 3 times, do you love me? So that defines unconditional love right there. Unconditional love that Jesus has for sinners. Unconditional love that Jesus has for people who don't understand him. What defined happiness for me is I really walk through my life Christ-like in unconditional love in an unconditional way because God loves me that way. The only way I could have loved myself throughout the time I went through is understanding that God really loves me unconditionally because he sent his son to deal with people like Peter. He made David a king and David was a mass murderer. You feel what I'm saying? Speaking of Cain and Abel, Noah from Noah and the Ark, he's a descendant of Cain. But Cain is the first person who murdered anybody in the Bible. And Noah saved humanity. Noah came from Cain. That's how I can believe God loves me unconditionally, even if I'm gay. And I can be comfortable, not staying comfortable in my sin, because I know that being gay is a sin and me and God are working through this thing. And what's surprising, I'm very transparent talking about that. I say it, just me and God are working through it. It's not right. And so I know my calling. My calling, and this is, again, talking about happiness, knowing who you are with God, your relationship with God is the only way. The chancellor can't define happiness for you, right? Your dad cannot define happiness for you. I can't, only God can. Mm-hmm. You have to walk in who God asking you to be, or you're going to be unhappy. People are unhappy because they're not walking in who God asked them to be. If you're not walking in the word, what are you walking in? The professional world? Can't be professional without God because you're going to be stressed and burnt out because you don't know how to get peace in yourself because you ain't practiced it with God first. God is a foundational thing. And so that's the type of Christian I am. I'm a foundational person because I had to go back because practicing homosexuality is something that you have to unravel and you have to go to the root of yourself to do. So I have to go to the root of the Bible. That's why I talk about Genesis all the time. Because God said everything is good. Everything that man said is bad, God said was good first. Immigrants. You say immigrants is bad. God said was good first. You know what I'm saying? What else do they say? They say a lot of things are bad that God said was good first. Like how we look at animals and creatures. How we look at snakes. He said every crawling thing is good. How humanity looks at the world is opposite what God asked. And so I went to the foundations. And I had to define what God defined what was love for him and his children to understand how he loves me.
I feel like we took a turn, but I'm glad we went though.
Yeah. It's okay to take a turn. I feel like I'm going to do too much talking. I need some rebuttal.
It's cool, because I'm thinking a lot. It's cool. You knowing that for yourself is big. And I'm knowing whoever's watching this, who will watch this, it hits them.
I appreciate it. Because that's the calling of my podcast. Like, everybody asks me, what's your podcast about? I say mental health awareness, entrepreneurship, anything positive, literally. But my calling is exposing other people's testimonies and in my own at the same time. Because it's 1,000 girls that look like me, living in their masculinity and like living in their sexuality. And if when you listening to sermons and you have to get fruitfulness from sermons. And so you have to understand the truth and the facts about yourself. The facts is what happened to you. Your trauma is the facts. But the truth is what God says about you, right? So you have to look in the Bible and read stories about other people and see how God gave them grace in their process throughout and relate them. It's like relation. It's a part of being a historian too. That's why that's why it aligns. It aligns. And so my calling is testimony and exposing it on media instead of people watching baddies. I'm sick of them watching baddies every Sunday. But we in a war. They still watching baddies.
Stuff don't make sense.
It doesn't.
But I don't know. It's another thing like someone was talking to me about. It's a good amount of. I wanted to read more. Like the books that I would try to get into was a lot about like self-help and ways to like fix what's going wrong in my life. feel like that was the issue in itself because it's me focusing on negative things.
Mm.
But I bought a book that was fiction to get like out of all the self-help stuff, and I think it's good because it's like find what things in the world can I have joy from, because I guess it was stemming from I believe in the word somewhere it says about if you cannot believe in earthly things, you cannot understand or believe in heavenly things.
Okay.
So it's like I was going through this thing of like skipping that step and like
Misunderstand the earthly things?
of not trying to believe in anything like earthly, like everything earthly is wrong when whether it probably is correct to an extent, but knowing to live and in me living and me seeking him before anything else, all the things that I like would be anxious over or fear would shed off of me. I'd be transformed in that through that. So
That's good. That's actually a question I had answered. You answered.
really,
Yes.
that's the thing that I tell myself, and like every day, being closer to Jesus. I'll be a little bit closer to Jesus. I understand to more of his truth, and in being in him, I'll be in peace, and I was given the spirit of power, of love, and a sound mind.
Sound mind is most important. The most important thing right now I'm going through. I've always gone through this. So it's something I ain't got working on, but it's a racing mind. Like I have a racing mind all the time. I'm thinking about the next 5 years every day, because there was a point where I was just thinking about the next 5 hours. You feel me? It's a point. It's going from living just for the day, and then actually living a progressive lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And actually getting up with some purpose, for the day. So, God helped me align, purpose, but it's still with a racing mind. It's like also being arrogant with time because I'm in your mind, you're not worried about the right now. You're not worried about the present. You're not worried about finishing the podcast. I'm worried about editing it and putting it out, as I'm sitting here still doing it. And that's being arrogant with time because you don't get to enjoy
being present in the moment, man.
Oh my gosh, like that is kind of like what I was saying to go along with the checklist. Like you think about the next thing instead of thinking about what I'm doing right now. But you probably thinking I'm at this Florida conference, but I got to be at this other conference in the next 3 months. Like has there ever been a type of thing to where like, yeah, I know I'm doing this, but I got to be higher than where I'm at in the next 3 months. I need to go from being just invited to being the speaker and then go from being the speaker to being the host? Like, has there ever been a trickle down kind of thought to you?
Yeah. I want to always gain more knowledge and definitely I just have to go back to being present in the moment because in all the conferences I started going to, I just love being busy because it allows me to not think about things. It allows me to not go into my thoughts, and sometimes I think you do. I'm really realizing now you have to be able to sit in those for times, but you gotta not get stuck in them. And whether you find the balance of the right thing that works for you is important because suppressing a lot of stuff did not help me. I'm glad I'm acknowledging that now and being self-aware about that because who knows what that would happen if I never would have tried to open up and be vocal.
Right, because suppression is also it contributes to burnout. Suppression contributes to burnout because your emotional suppression, it affects your physical, So.
Yeah, my bad, cut you off.
No, I'll cut you off first.
I was just going to say that, man, right now it feels like in this semester and even going into my senior year, it'll be about me leaning into my light, shining my light, and I'm trying to really dim it, leaning into my voice. I love trying to make everybody happy. Often I always try to say yes. I don't really say no. And even when I'm saying no for a good reason, it feels wrong.
You're a people pleaser still? It's okay to still be one.
In some regards.
No, I get it. I'll tell you something about that no. All right. 2 years ago, let me not worry about time span because I'm getting off track. I went from 2023, I was a people pleaser, right? Even though it came to relationships, right? I was a people pleaser. I went from being a people pleaser to having to say, the reason why I learned to say no was parenting. And that's hard. But that's a great way that God started me off, having to say no to your parent because you're going into your adolescence. You're not a teenager anymore. You're growing into your adolescence and getting comfortable with your adulthood. You have to learn how to say no. So that's why I learned to say no. And I went from not saying no at all to saying no, but being arrogant with my no. And that was a misstep. So when you're talking about your no, you have to ask God for very specific things. Ask God, help me navigate my no. Help me navigate being comfortable with it, but not being arrogant with it, being graceful with it. My process was different. I went from not knowing how to say no to saying no to saying no to saying not right now, because being transparent is a very important part of your no. Not that you owe anybody an explanation. And sometimes your no is just your no. But the type of people I feel like we are, empathetic people, for yourself, you can know with transparency. That's for you. It's not really for the people. It's for you. So being graceful with my no is something that I'm doing better than I've ever done on. But you just gotta navigate those steps, because no is it's a hard word, because you can be hasteful in your no, and being hasteful towards others is being hasteful towards yourself. And a man that is around a fool and is hasteful towards a fool is just as worse as being a fool. So you don't want to be hasteful towards yourself with your no. That's why you can't misstep it. So I just had to ask God how to navigate that.
Well, I appreciate the way that you've been able to even let this be like a safe space and us to really be walks with Christ and in general. And I understand now why, or a little bit more about why the interaction was made between us and the reason why we're here right now.
Yeah.
And even in me thinking of hearing you say, are you a people pleaser? And me just thinking the absolute worst of what that meant. You was like, nah, it's okay to be that. But then you explained in your understanding of it and how you learned from it, that you explained that it is okay, but you understanding why you were that way, and in what way that you had a misstep to understanding how to really
how to say no. And like I said, like the calling on my podcast, because a lot of my professors like to give our generation grace, but from the things I see on TikTok and Instagram, I don't give our generation a lot of grace, because young men like you are a lot more rare to me than what they see. But that's because I'm from the hood. I went to public school. I went to private school too, and some of them, ended up a different way. And so I know my generation on the other side of America and on the minority side of America, and we are misfocused. And we're misfocused because we're not focused in our faith. And if you don't see people your age, people like me, she's gay talking about God. It's not a bad thing all the time. It's for other people that's gay and don't talk about God. It's a shame to talk about God. It's a shame to go to God. If you're not walking with God, you're not walking with the right thing. So it's okay to showcase your relationship with God, because some business professionals worry so much about money or their income or their business or who they're paying or learning or getting their degrees. Or I know it's a lot more to go into business than history. Let me take that back. It's just different ways that the mind is held. And so I'm just saying, the world makes us focus on everything but God sometimes. When you see other people that look just like you focusing on God, it's, hey, let me take a step back, or let me see what they're doing. Because the only reason why I'm here today is God. I couldn't have no podcast. Let me tell you something. I could not have a podcast freshman year when I said I wanted to write a book, when I wanted to start a podcast, because I was ignorant and immature. I could not talk to you about your no, because I didn't know how to say no. It wasn't the time to have a podcast. So it may not be the time for this certain person to get this internship. They just got a no on it. But it's not a no. It's just not the time, because you're not that mature yet. God need to mature you in some ways. You may not, like my friend, I love her to death. She didn't get into the graduate school she wanted to get into. She understands that it's just not a not right now, but I have to remind her. It's not a no, you dumb. It's not a no, we don't want you. It's a God's no, I don't need you to be fruitful here. Ain't no fruit for you here. You know? It's just ain't no fruit for you here. So I had to understand that because we want everything in a rush. Like I want a mortgage. I don't want no rent. I want to own some land. I want to own my house. I'm not mature in my credit. You have to have credit history. You have to. It's something called credit age. You want to have a credit age of 10 years before you go into buying a home. So I'm like,
10 years?
Yeah, it's a comfortable year span for the credit bureau or whoever's looking at your credit or reviewing your credit. It's a more comfortable year span for them to give you a home loan or whatever down payment you want, rather than I've only had credit for 5 years. So I'm not that mature in my credit. They're not going to trust me with the large loan. I'm going to get denied, on my loan. So, but getting denied on the loan and just thinking about the facts. The truth of what God said is you're not mature right now. I need to grow you in your maturity, not only your finances, but with life, in order for you to endure and take care of something like a home, like family. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that just go into big decisions. So that's why you have to ask God what navigation with everything. Just as like, ask God, what kind of car do you want me to have? And he'll give you some love on the car. Like the car was $16,000, you might get a $8,000 car, same car you wanted, but you ask God how to navigate that situation instead of you doing it by yourself and going ahead and going to the dealership, getting a brand new car. Ask God how to navigate it and wait on it. I have a living testimony just like that. My grandma, she waited a year. She got the car she wanted in the budget she wanted and lower, and it just happened like that because she sowed her seed and she waited, So that's a part of what we was talking about, like being in a rush all the time or just going on to the next thing, or not being arrogant in the present, in the right now. Because if you're arrogant in the right now, you're not gonna know what to do in the next 5 years because you're not understanding what God was trying to teach you right then and there to prepare you for the next 5 years. So that's what I had to learn. It's like you want to jump out in this world. This world ain't nothing to jump out in. It's sometimes it's jump and sit, jump and watch, or don't jump at all. It's just listen, so that's what God asked me to do, listen. Where do you see yourself in your faith by the time of graduation? What do you want you and God to accomplish? What are your faith accomplishments that you want to have by the time you graduate?
Faith accomplishments by the time I graduate. I haven't thought of that. I feel like you're a good example, bro.
What? Me?
Yeah.
Go off, twin.
Like, for real. Being able to know why I'm even in my belief with him. Of course, I've had family members that there's things, even in my own life, that I have no one else to point at but him. But knowing to let go and give it to God, being still and really waiting on his say-so, and knowing that in everything I do, it leads back to him. And he's my source of everything that I'm doing. To not get caught up in the new things I will accomplish, the achievements I'll have, the impact I'll have on my campus, the impact I'll have in my hometown, my family, all those things. Yes, they're going to happen because God gave me these gifts to do these things, but they're merely from him.
Mm-hmm.
So having stuff will just increase. I'll be more busy. There'll be more things trying to ask of me, but to still be still in him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the accomplishment. That's the faith accomplishment that you asked.
That's what's up. I like that. Being still, like being content, like just really truly trusting him and flowing with him and just rocking it out. That's a big accomplishment, man. It's some 40-year-olds that, like, and I only say anything I say is because I've actually heard it. Most of the things I talk to my family about. And so, like, I know 40-year-olds that say, like, I'm proud of you with the self-love thing. Or even asking about the self-love thing or self-esteem thing or this faith thing, because it took me this age to understand that if we get it young, right, we, not saying the smarter you are, the farther you'll go. But the further you are with your intellect and the word, it will bring you a long way. It will bring you a long way, because I didn't get my intellect necessarily from college. I really got it from God. I really got it from learning myself. So being still in Him grows your intellect to whatever you got to do in the world. Because you do a lot of things. These are all the notes I took on the things that you do in the world, sir. A lot of things he does in the world.
Man, and I ain't doing it for that stuff either. It's for me just doing what's just been doing. I'm glad I'm not letting that stuff get to my head.
That's good.
And I'm glad I'm keeping myself aware of that, because
humble.
I don't want to be caught up in that. I have the temptation to want to do that and, like, try and, like, stun about it, but that's not, what fruit does that bear?
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's it. That's it. You exemplify humbleness. That's what you define. You exemplify humbleness. Because when you go into these high places, which you are going to go, the number one thing that it's all about the king who doesn't want to be king. I watched Sarah Jakes Roberts' podcast. I'm sorry we're going over. Give me one more minute. The king who doesn't want to be king becomes king. David, he did not want to be king. So, listen, you define humbleness right now. I'm telling you. Feel me? And that's it. Not that when I'm saying king, I don't mean king over a land or nothing. I don't know what God wants you to be king of. But when you define humbleness, you exemplify it for other men of minorities, specifically, very specifically. This is why you in these HBCU spaces. You could have went off to a PWI and done the same things. But these opportunities that are afforded to you here, and so you're on the forefront, you're the image of it, right? But not just being the image. You're behind the face, behind the picture of him with the watch. He really humble. He probably was really nervous taking that picture.
Sweating it off.
Yeah, like, but you define humbleness. And so that's what people in high places need to remind themselves where they were at, right? And be humble. So when they look at you, and he's like, he come here, you're soft-spoken, you're not all grandiose, you don't dress all flashy. And it ain't nothing wrong with people dress flashy. Now, some people, they humble too. They just like how to dress or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're humble. So that's a foundation for you. I don't know the rest. I pray on it, and I'll tell you another day. But you're humble, so be proud of that. And that's something that you don't got to talk about. That's what you grow on. That's part of your calling, is exemplifying humbleness, because it's people like grandiose politicians. I keep bringing it up because we really have a loud man in the office, and he's grandiose. He exemplifies being power heavy and using power for evil. Being humble, you have to practice using power for good, and your power is networking. And so, teach other people how to network and be humble wherever they grow. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, y'all. It's okay. I'm with Brayden. We're here at the History Lab in the Edmonds building here at the best HBCU in the planet.
Eagle Pride.
Amplified, North Carolina Central University. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Making history.
History in the making.
History in the current moment. You live in history.
Hello. I appreciate that. I'm Monet, and I always got something to say. Peace.